In the last video, I showed you guys how to install Epic Games on Linux. Now, that's all fine, but how do you actually install Linux and how do you use it? That's what I'm going to be showing you guys in today's video and the rest of the series. So before we get right into it, first we have to understand that Linux, as a concept, doesn't mean the operating system as a whole. Rather, it's just the kernel. The kernel is what makes your mouse and keyboard and all your drivers work. Without the kernel, you can't have any of the rest of the operating system. A distribution takes the kernel and on top of it adds a bunch of other stuff that you'll need to use your computer, such as a desktop environment, all the default applications, and a package manager. If you're just starting out with Linux, then all of this might seem overwhelming to you, but it doesn't have to be. For starters, there are a lot of distros which make it easy and beginner friendly, such as this one, Pop! OS. So when you download and run your installation medium or your ISO, you should be presented with a screen like this. A lot of people think that installing Linux is really hard or complicated, but it doesn't really have to be. For example, with Pop! OS, you get this nice graphical installer that will be done in just a few easy steps. I'm using a virtual machine right now, but in practice, this will be on your actual machine. So to start, we'll just choose English, select, and United States. Normal keyboard layout, default. So now you should be at this screen. So you have three options here. You can clean install, which means you just erase everything on your current system and you install Pop! OS. Or you can do a custom, which is kind of for advanced users. You have to manage the partitions manually. You'll want to go with this method if you already have Windows on the system and you want to dual boot. But in most cases, you're going to go with clean install. You can also try demo mode just to try out the operating system before you're installing. Demo mode runs completely in your RAM, so it doesn't actually change anything to the system. And when you're in demo mode, you can always get back to this installer. So I'm just going to go with clean install. And now here you have to select a device. If there's multiple here, be really careful that you choose the correct disk. Otherwise, you might end up losing data. So there's only one disk here, which is the VirtualBox disk. So I'm gonna click this and erase and install. Now, on some distros, and with Pop! OS especially, you have the option for drive encryption. And what that means is that when you boot up your operating system after installing it, you're going to have to put in an encryption password. Now, what that means is that if someone steals your computer, for example, and they try and access the drive, it'll all be encrypted. You can only unlock the drive with that special password. I'm using a virtual machine right here, so I don't need to encrypt, but if you're concerned about security, then you should definitely choose your encryption password. So now you should be at this screen. This will take a while because now it's actually erasing your disk and installing Pop! OS or whatever distro you chose. So yeah, this is going to take a while. You can click here to view the console output, or you can just watch this nice animation of a rocket. So now that the installation is done, you should be at this screen. So you can either restart the device or you can shut it down to restart later. So I'm just going to go with restart right now. So now we're at this screen. So when you're here, just click next. So now you can fill in your user data, so I'm just going to do that, next, And now we have to put in a password, so I'm gonna So now you should be at this screen. So now you can click start using Pop! OS. So this is Pop! OS. And from here you can do all sorts of things like installing Steam, which we will do in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and all of that. And I will see you in the next one.